one of the main challenges Disney faces with keeping Tomorrowland relevant is that at some point the future always catches up, which means this area of Disneyland is going to need updates more often than any other land in the theme park. As such, Tomorrowland has already been through 6 different incarnations, but due to budget cuts and other reasons unknown, Disney has allowed this futuristic themed land to fall into a sad state. So, what can Disney do to bring Tomorrowland back into the future once again? Here are 29 ideas. When you enter the newly reimagined Tomorrowland, you want to feel like you just stepped into the future. So what does the future look like today? How about starting off by creating a dynamic environment throughout the land with emphasis placed on interactivity, light, and automation? Imagine what it would look like if the structures from the Tomorrowland entrance through the expo building were covered in flexible, high-resolution LED screens. Think how each building could change its appearance, how each exterior could interact with guests. This is what LG has been doing for the past 3 years at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. And this is what Salesforce did in the lobby of their San Francisco offices. Imagine all the wonderful displays Disney could come up with. On structures which are not optimal for screen placement, LED lighting should be used instead. Adding these LED holograms, which spin to create images at things like food kiosks, could continue to set the scene. Meanwhile, interactive screens embedded in optimal pathways, which change when triggered by guests, would add a lot of fun. Something Disney could add around the Kugel fountain, that large granite ball suspended on pressurized water, is a large interactive color-changing light tunnel. Disney has always done an incredible job with the plant life in Disneyland, but this next technology is unlike anything guests have yet to experience. Using cameras and machine learning, these flowers are able to respond to people's emotions. Placing these throughout the land would be yet another feature guests could interact with. When envisioning the future, the idea of robotics and artificial intelligence helping with daily tasks has been a part of the conversation for the past 50+ years. And with the tremendous progress made in the past few years, it looks like the technology has finally reached the point where an AI character could become the host of Tomorrowland while robots take over the service. In strategic locations throughout Tomorrowland, Disney should install these holographic tubes that would project the host character.
Want to know more? Just touch the screen.
But how else can holograms be utilized in Tomorrowland? How about as a holographic band, rocking out at the Tomorrowland Terrace stage next to the Galactic Grill? Holograms used for stage performances went mainstream in 2012 when the deceased Tupac Shakur performed alongside Snoop Dogg at the Coachella Music Festival. Using an updated version of the technology, performances of today's top musicians could be filmed and played back for years to come. Performances could even be combined with live and holographic elements. Effects that would have only previously been available in a music video format could also be used. How about creating a nighttime show in Tomorrowland that combines live action with 3D projection mapping? Here's an example of 3D projection mapping that Disney has already done. And what about drone light shows? This is a very cool technology that is just starting to explore what is possible. There are many different groups coming up with cool ideas, like this display Intel put together. Imagine all the cool things that Disney could do with these drones. How can Disney create the restaurant of tomorrow? How about swapping out Red Rocket's pizza port for a dining experience put on entirely by robots? As the field of robotics and AI continue to evolve, machines are becoming more capable of complex tasks than ever before, including preparing and serving food. Creator Hamburger in San Francisco has designed an automated production line for their burgers. Miso Robotics in Pasadena, California, has created Flippy, a robotic arm that is capable of working the grill and the fryer. Zoom Pizza in Mountain View, California, is working to fully automate the production of pizza. Spice Robotics in Boston is using automated woks to make a variety of dishes. Then there is Molly Robotics based in London. This group is taking a different approach by using machine learning to train a pair of robotic arms to make just about anything you can imagine. When it is ready, a robotic waiter, perhaps a Disney character, would deliver it to the table. Last thought on robot servers. How about putting this robot that serves ice cream to work in a kiosk? Now, back to the restaurant. How about using these multi-touch displays as tables? Where guests could order the food, the table could display information about the food and drinks, including ingredients and calorie counts. Guests could order refills by pressing a button next to the item on the table. The tables could also have engaging interactive displays that guests could play with while waiting for food. Much like the Tomorrowland corridor, the restaurant's walls should be video displays that can create various environments. When looking to the future, the idea of sustainability is often a topic of consideration. So, how could Disney add some sustainability to Tomorrowland? How about installing a fully automated vertical farm in the Expo Center? The Expo Center is currently being utilized as a Star Wars exhibition hall and a place to do meet and greets with fan-favorite Star Wars characters. This is an experience that should be moved to the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge area of the park. In its place, Disney should install a fully automated, vertical, indoor farm that is tended by artificial intelligence and robotics to produce crops. Take a look at what Ironox, a company located in San Carlos, California, has developed. One of the biggest benefits of indoor farming is how water usage gets reduced 90%. A demonstration of what food production will look like in years to come would be an enriching experience for guests of all ages. And depending on output, guests could even sample the food at a Tomorrowland restaurant. Now, switching gears from sustainable food production to cars that run on renewable energy. Is it finally time to say goodbye to the outdated and the rather stinky cars of Autopia? Autopia was originally intended as a representation of what would become America's multi-lane limited-access highways, which, when Disneyland opened in 1955, were still being developed. But is this experience still relevant today? The future of automotive transportation is looking like it is going to be two things: electrically powered and cars that are piloted by sensors and computers. So what experience should Disney create? An organization like Tesla, who is a leader in battery electric automotive and self-driving automation, is an example of a company with their feet firmly planted in the future and would make an ideal sponsor for the reimagined attraction. Updating Autopia with electric cars that can both be driven and autopiloted will give guests a relevant taste of this future. The updated experience could look something like this. Guests enter a car with a futuristic design. The driver would be in control of the car, except if they veer off course, which is when the autopilot would take over and return the car to where it should be. If a driver wishes to change lanes, they would use a turn signal, and the autopilot would make the lane change when safe. An added benefit of this technology, the center guides could be removed and guests would no longer get that hard jolt. Adding to the experience, the car could take control at certain points on the track, perhaps a straightaway, to demonstrate the acceleration electric cars have, and at the right moment, return control of the car back to the driver. If a driver removes their hands from the wheel, the autopilot would engage automatically. The cars should be able to communicate with each other, which would enable features such as collision avoidance and display of real-time traffic conditions. Induction charging could be used to keep the vehicles powered, and could reduce the human intervention in the maintenance of the vehicles. This could be done behind the scenes, with the cars autopiloting themselves to charge and then returning to the loading area when ready. Alternatively, induction charging could be embedded throughout the track, charging the cars as they drive. Also, solar panels installed on the roof of the waiting area and tied into a battery storage system could help create sustainable energy for the vehicles. Now, what should be done with the old People Mover tracks and the former location of the rocket jets? Disney attempted to reimagine the People Mover tracks back in 1998 with the Rocket Rods attraction. However, after just 2 years, the ride was closed due to difficulties of keeping it running. Now, it just sits empty. And what about the former location of the rocket jets? It's just filled with stuff better placed in storage and remains a reminder of a better time. So, how can Disney breathe life back into these areas? How about installing a Tron light cycle power run coaster that runs down the center of the Tomorrowland corridor? The Tron coaster that currently operates in Shanghai, China, would make an awesome addition to Disneyland's Tomorrowland. Disney is currently building another version of the ride for Magic Kingdom in Orlando, Florida, which hopefully means that they intend to bring one to Disneyland when the Tomorrowland redesign happens. While it is likely that Disney is eyeing the Autopia track to be reworked in order to fit this item into Disneyland's Tomorrowland, the Plaza Inn restaurant should be sacrificed to make room for Tron, as it would make an ideal location for the ride's main building. Take a look at how large the Plaza Inn building actually is. Should Disney keep Astro Blasters, move it to Pixar Pier, or simply say goodbye to the attraction that first opened in 2005? Although the Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters attraction loosely fits the Tomorrowland theme, it probably makes sense to move it over to Pixar Pier, leaving that area open for something new. Disney has already done a Mission to Mars attraction, so how about a Mars Colony experience? Disneyland's original Mission to Mars attraction opened in 1975 and closed in 1992. But with a renewed interest in sending humans to the Red Planet, experiencing what a Mars colony is going to be like would be a lot of fun. So, what would this attraction look like? Start off by setting the experience in the distant future. At some point in the attraction's queue, guests step through a futuristic portal that instantly transports them from Earth to the Mars Geodome, where, through various simulation technologies, guests will experience what it will be like to live on Mars. Guests then enter a futuristic Mars ground vehicle simulator. The simulation would include a tour of the colony where scientists are about to begin the terraforming process, which will bring a breathable atmosphere to Mars. But when the terraforming causes an unexpected reaction, causing a huge dust and rock storm, the vehicle must outrun the debris or else risk being destroyed. The driver then gets the guests back to the base, where they offload back into the Geodome and then back through another portal to Earth. Star Tours is one of the most beloved attractions at Disneyland, but does it still belong in Tomorrowland? With the new Star Wars Galaxy's Edge now open, moving Star Tours to that area would make sense. This would open up that spot to bring back a version of the Rocket to the Moon experience that Disney originally opened with in July 1955. This time, a company such as Virgin Galactic could sponsor the attraction. Build a simulator that demonstrates what a commercial journey into space will look and feel like in the coming years. And the experience could look something like this. Guests would walk through a spaceport, receive some basic astronaut training, and then enter a spacecraft, not unlike the Virgin Galactic Spaceship 2, but with a larger cabin so as to fit more guests. The guests would watch through windows in the spacecraft as it is lifted up into the air by the launch aircraft, then feel the thrust as the ship blasts into space for a trip around the moon. Guests would get a view of the lunar surface, a lunar base, and even the recently proposed Gateway space station. The ride ends when the craft returns to Earth, landing safely back where we started. Next, does Hyperspace Mountain need a redesign, or should it just be left alone? It's not always about completely redesigning an attraction. Hyperspace Mountain is a classic, and should remain mostly untouched. However, adding additional light tunnels, much like this one, throughout the track would create a much more immersive experience. On a separate note, an idea for the exterior of Hyperspace Mountain would be to add Tesla's solar tiles. This could help make Tomorrowland more energy sustainable and create a cool new look for the iconic building. Additionally, the integration of LED lights on the contours of the building could be used to create a futuristic display. Now, what about the stores in Tomorrowland? How can they take a step into the future? While this is more likely a novelty than a useful tool, having a virtual mirror that allows guests to try on all the different clothing items for sale could be a fun experience and would further enhance that feeling of being in a future time and place that is very technologically advanced. Next to the Star Trader is the Tomorrowland Theater. Some of us remember what it was like to watch 3D objects fly off the screen in Captain EO and Honey, I Shrunk the Audience. It was mind-blowing. But, like all movies, they aged and no longer excited audiences as they once did. Today, the theater is used to show Star Wars: Path of the Jedi, a highlight reel from many of the Star Wars movies. So, what experience can Disney create to capture our imaginations like it did all those years ago? How about by producing a new original narrative short film that is displayed using the most advanced theater technology ever created? Samsung has created a new movie theater experience with their Onyx screen, which doesn't use projection, but is rather like a massive television. Here are the benefits a cinema LED screen has over traditional projection. It's 10 times brighter, has dynamic range support, details are crisp and clear, the screen has true black, infinite contrast, perfect brightness uniformity, and no image distortion. Add an augmented reality headset like this one from Magic Leap to display the 3D elements, and Disney would have a theatrical experience unlike anything audiences have ever seen. With the theater seats able to move and the already installed air effects, this could set the stage for one of the most immersive movie theater experiences ever created. As kids, we loved the submarine voyage. It really felt like we were going underwater to explore the ocean deep. But this attraction has not aged well. even with the Finding Nemo update. The stuffy and hard-to-breathe interior of the yellow submarines feels panic attack-inducing claustrophobic, and it is difficult to see anything out of the small windows, making for a poor guest experience. Even though I have heard cast members comment that the subs are fit to last another 50 years, the adventure doesn't hold up to today's standards. So what could replace this aging attraction? How about finding a way to continue Disney's partnership with writer-director James Cameron? Submarine Voyage could be replaced with an Avatar underwater adventure. Cameron has shared plans to film large portions of the upcoming Avatar sequels underwater. While there's not enough information available yet to make a proper proposal of the experience, working with the filmmaker could get the planning underway and ready for when the new movies release in the next few years. So, what do you think of these ideas? Should Disney sit up and take notice, or is it back to the drawing board? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one. See you next time.